show. I was about to start off and say that we did it again Tuesday, 9 p.m. We started on time, right day of the week, and then I realized no, it's Thursday.
That says a lot of things about you, Dan.
It says a ton of things about me. I have no idea what day of the
Too much,
fucking week it is anymore.
too much of that gin you got there.
I'm just doing Diet Pepsi tonight.
We know Diet Pepsi is code for gin. Stop
You know, I
it.
thought, all right, so, and as you can see, it's Amanda and Marty this week. Hi.
The very best of polite conversation and appropriate comments.
Yeah, yeah. I, so I wanted to buy a new bottle of gin, and my wife looked at me and she said, "You know, you have like 3 near empty bottles of gin. Can we just wait to buy another bottle of gin until these 3 near empty bottles are gone?" So I said, "Challenge accepted." So over the last weekend, I finished the 3 near empty bottles of gin over the weekend. Um,
You could have made a fun punch and just made them all together.
you know, I wanted to taste them separately and then take notes of which ones were different. And
Wow.
yeah. So, but the good news is now I can buy a new bottle of gin because
There you
I finished off
You're
the 3
like
other ones.
you're like some kind of gin hipster.
Yeah.
Do you get like fancy with like the tonic that you add, or
You know,
you?
I don't when I'm at home. No, I
Hmm.
pretty much just get like the what is it? Polar has they have like
Yeah.
a seltzer
Mhm.
and tonic. I get like a diet tonic, so it's almost like drinking like Diet Coke with gin. You know, got to save on the sugar and kill
Of
yourself with
course.
aspartame.
There you go.
Mm.
So I mean, the trade off. Um, but I've been to some places and they're known for their tonics, which
Yeah.
it just blows my mind. It's like, wait a minute, there's something. It's not just like sugar water. Like you
Mm.
actually do stuff with your tonics. But there's this place, town over in Montclair. It's called the Crosby, and they make their own tonic, and they're known for it. And so I've drank a couple of gin and tonics there before, and they're quite delicious. But
If you if you ever make it to Glasgow, there's a gin bar there that has more than 70 different kinds of gin,
I
and
wouldn't
every
survive
single one has
a
a
paired tonic.
specific a tonic and like a garnish.
Of course, because I
Ooh,
mean Hendrix is
cucumber.
that's a Scottish gin,
Mm,
right? Hendrix, yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, it's cucumber because they make it with cucumber, so you pair it with cucumber, and you always
Yeah.
know a cool bar if they ask you when you order a Hendrix if they say you like cucumber and you're like you get it, it's not lime,
Is that where the
That-
expression "cool as a cucumber" comes from?
maybe let's just say it is. Let's just say, yeah. You know, let's find phrases, and we'll just make up the meanings for them right on the
c-
show, and
I thi-
Yeah.
it's funny. A lot of them, it turns out are kind of racist because they did that a couple weeks ago with the. I remember that was on Fox News or CNN maybe. Someone got out of their cotton picking mind came up, and the guy got offended because of course
Oh.
it's part of the lexicon now, but when you think about it, yeah, it's racist. And then they brought it up on the Stern show the next day, just going through like 10 different other ones. That was like, if you go all the way back, it's like, oh, that's horrible. Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I never knew that the word gypped came from gypsies.
yeah,
Oh.
Jips,
I
yeah,
had
Jips.
no
Jips.
idea.
Yeah.
Abe called me out on it on a show once. He's like, "That's offensive." I'm like, "I had no idea." Yeah, yeah,
I
terrible.
just like that you're now reached a point in your life where a place that's cool has cucumbers. That's
Well,
your guy.
listen. I mean, you know, this is where I'm at in my life. My wife was was very happy when she was going through recycling and she found a nice cardboard box that she wanted to keep. She's like, "No, this is
I
actually a
did
nice
see
box.
that
I
post.
could use I
Yeah.
could use this for something." Um, and she's right. Listen, you never know when you need a good cardboard
Yeah.
box for something. You just never know. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna save
Are
this.
you married to a cat? You want some paper bags too? Those, just leave them on the floor for her and she can sit on them.
Yeah, my kids are obsessed with cardboard boxes, of course.
Okay.
To the point where I have one. Let me show you. I can't throw this box
Wow.
out. I'm not allowed to. My daughter will not let me throw out this box. This is her box. She will not let me throw that box out.
We should do a whole show one day just on the weird things that are behind you.
It's
Because I don't know what that thing is with the seat, that other thing over the other, that thing that looks like a basket. Is that a flower print on it, or
it's my laundry basket.
is that what it is? All right, it
Yeah,
looks very
that's,
fancy.
that's my laundry basket. Yeah.
All right.
Um,
And there's the weird sheep that we bring
you
on
see the sheep
sometimes.
sometimes. Yeah. that's like a like down here is like this like baby seat thing that we tried to sell at a garage sale. It didn't sell.
Yeah,
There's an empty jug, an empty water jug.
sure.
There's a stool. See
Put some
that
pennies in that thing.
pink and purple stool. Um, I
The
have
pinata's been there a good 6
Pinata's
months
been
to a
there
year.
since Annie's birthday. Yeah, so that's been there for a while.
Mhm.
And it will stay there. I'm just gonna keep that pinata there. We're gonna talk about a movie this week. I mean, listen,
Sure.
I don't know if we have to. I mean, we could just keep going.
I thought we had a nice segue there when we were talking about drinks. We could have talked about like a place where they really don't do the drinks well is generally like a cruise. You get just unlimited watery cocktails, right?
I've
Based
never
on
been on
this
a
one,
cruise, but they
yeah,
seem to get schmammered on
Oh,
these.
they were given shots and shots and shots on this fucking disastrous cruise of a movie.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, I guess we can
So
start.
so actually, so you've never been on a
I've
cruise?
never been on a cruise. I've done
No,
the all-inclusive islands.
all inclusive.
Okay.
I've never done the cruise though. Yeah.
And this
Marty?
movie, no, yeah, I figured it would be off.
Oh.
This movie reaffirmed that.
I've got a great story about going on a cruise.
Let's start off with that.
Yeah. So I've been on 2 cruises. The second time we tried to fix all of the things that were wrong with the first one, and it was still just the worst. So this cruise, we left from Charleston instead of from the Caribbean, which means that we were on the Atlantic for like 2.5 days. So you're just on like empty ocean and it's choppy water and there's like nothing to do. That was a mistake. We went in December, so it was cold
So it was
when we
cold.
left.
Sure.
So it went from like 40 degrees to like 70 or 80 by the time we got down there. So not only did you have to bring clothes for both weather, but you weren't like laying out in the sun reading a book on the days that you were on the water. You were like hiding. So that was wrong. Not only it was December, but it was the week of Christmas. So they only played Christmas music on the PA system the entire time.
Sure.
And this being a cruise that left from Charleston, South Carolina, they only played country Christmas music, of which I had never heard before in my life. They had maybe 2 CDs that they just kept in rotation the whole time. So I discovered this song I'd never heard before that was like, "My daddy looks a lot like Santa. Santa looks a lot like him. Do. I don't remember the words, but just it was over and over. Lots of grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Sure.
Lots of yes, the everything on the boat, all of the food is like food court, like lowest common denominator food. Like it looks really good, but they have to make it taste like nothing because it's a bunch of like white people who can't handle food tasting like anything. So it's just very bland. If you're vegetarian, there's pretty much like nothing you can eat because they just put like bacon and salt and cheese on everything. You have like one pasta option like every meal, and it's just like spaghetti covered in white sauce. Then the most annoying part is that cruise ships, to save space, are essentially like 3/4 scale. So just imagine like low key, like everything just kind of is shrunk. And it just like really just gradually plays up your anxiety. And by the end of, like a week on the boat, you're just like, why is everything so small? I think that was generally like everything. It was just kind of like you think you pay like in advance for almost everything, and then they spend the entire time you're on the ship trying to get you to pay for extra stuff.
Of course.
That's every vacation, though. I mean,
It is, but I mean, like you're not really, yeah. So
I don't know. Like, is it Marty? Like, some of the all-inclusive islands. Did you did Aruba for your honeymoon? Or?
yeah.
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 I don't know. They just left us alone.
Oh, yeah.
right,
Perfect. Yeah. Just you
yeah,
go
because
up, walk.
we've done an all inclusive like in Mexico, and again that was like they leave you alone.
Yeah.
They stop and ask if they can bring you a drink, and you go yes or no, and then they just keep walking. You don't.
Yeah, I love like Jamaica. Like me and my wife used to go to Jamaica and the all-inclusive resorts there, and it was just great. It's like seriously, you go to
And the beds are normal size, and the
yes,
bathrooms are
yes,
normal
normal
size,
size
and the
for
hallways are normal size, and you don't have handles in all the bathrooms in case the ship starts rocking. And yeah,
so cruises.
Cruises
Could you
was
tell
the
that this
main focus
movie's
of this
about a
movie.
cruise by this poster though? I mean,
You actually couldn't from this poster. You'd
No,
think maybe
no.
they're left lost at sea or some kind
Right.
of dumb, which would have been 100 times better than what we got.
What did
Which
we
was
get, Marty? Marty, what did we get? What is
we
this
get
movie about? Please
well, we
tell us.
essentially got a Royal Caribbean commercial wrapped around a bad Frasier episode, which is what I mentioned to you guys the other day. And so what we get here is the movie here about Kristen Bell's character, whose name I care not to remember. That's Kristen Bell, playing her Kristen Bell role, essentially.
yeah.
And so we meet her at the start of the movie. She's getting married. And, she's the prototypical same, character you've seen in every movie so far where, always on her phone, so obsessed with her work, which she had no business being obsessed with her work because her job looks like the easiest job in the world. With the completely pushover boss who doesn't care what she does really and just says, there, go have fun, but she's somehow obsessed with her job. And so we find her getting married, and at the same time she's getting married, we see our old friend Kelsey Grammer running to her wedding. But it's pretty, clear early on there's some kind of separation between the two of them because he's not, walking down the aisle. He's sitting in the back of the wedding. He wasn't, he parked 10 blocks away in case he was hiding his way there. So there's a little bit of a twist to start the movie off. We start to think that maybe she's gonna run away, have maybe a runaway bride situation. But we find out the music hits for "Here Comes a Bride," blah blah blah, and she's not coming. She's not coming. We find her just on her phone, over stupid nonsense work stuff again. This is when the movie just loses me right off the bat because really no one cares as much about their job, especially when they're fucking just some stupid ad executive or whatever the hell she was. So oh no, you gotta come. So she hides her phone in her bouquet. She walks down the aisle. The phone falls out of the bouquet. The husband says, "Oh, that's enough. That's it for me. I'm out." And that's the last time we see him in the movie because I guess he wasn't important anymore. And so she doesn't seem to care or does care that it happened, but it's everyone else at the wedding, we never see them again. Her bridesmaids, never see them again. So Kelsey Grammer walks off in some kind of odd way. He's like, "Oh my God, that's your dad," stupid nonsense. So she goes out drinking the next night, and Kelsey Grammer goes with her, and they get drunk, and they wind up on a cruise together because that was supposed to be the honeymoon.
How many jokes did they make about them being a couple that just fell flat?
Oh, 40,
all of them.
at least 75.
God, Jesus.
And also we had a night.
How'd you bag the silver fox?
Oh God. The whole night of them drinking before they go on the cruise is them taking shot after shot after shot after shot.
It's
Kristen Bell weighs what, a $1.05 soaking wet.
She was already 3 bourbons in by the time they got to the bar.
So stop it. I mean, she would have been passed out after the first.
Which reminds me, we need to buy breathalyzers for the show, and we have to drink on the show and show the breathalyzer throughout the show. Maybe we'll watch Ghostbusters again and have to drink and breathalyze.
So then the movie becomes this whole cliched thing about the long lost father with the daughter and blah 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 blah.
We have an issue with that. Well, Netflix has daddy issues, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. This is actually not unlike our
Kodachrome.
to synergize this thing, Kodachrome. But this one, it's like that is not the focus of the movie for more than like 2 minutes. It's like the movie switches focus constantly, and it's we should mention it's written and directed by Seth Rogen's wife, Lauren Miller. And this movie does nothing more than prove to me that Seth Rogen is just a great husband, because I can't imagine he read the script and the fact that he read the script
this is great,
and was able to tell her, "This is great, hun. I'll be in it too, and I'll promote it." I don't get it. I can't see how that happened.
His tone, like just the way that he did his scenes was like he hadn't read the script and was just ad-libbing. I'm fairly convinced he didn't read the script and was just like on vacation with her, and she was like, come on, do it. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's just goofing off, and she's like, we're keeping it in the movie now, babe.
What was he? He was
I don't
from
think
Saskatchewan or like, oh, he's
it
Calgary.
Was so,
he was from, I think he was from Calgary, Alberta. Yeah.
And Seth Rogen's not the biggest star in the world, but he's much too big a star to be just a random guy in this movie.
Well,
because
Kirsten Bell and Kelsey Grammer are also too big to be in a Netflix parody of a Lifetime original movie.
But they're starring in it at least. When you just walk up on Seth Rogen at the bar, it's like, oh, hey, that's Seth Rogen. It's like, it's just so out of place.
Well, but like, do you think he got paid to be in this?
No, he has
right.
To be, so he can go home.
I mean, like screen actors, whatever, he probably had to be paid, but like, right.
Yeah, he took scale or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I don't. We can pick apart everything from there, but it just becomes this cliched fucking. They do so, like, how do you write if you're trying to make a funny movie? How do you write like these hackneyed fucking? Let's try the surfing montage scene. Let's do all the boat stuff. It's like, come on, like.
Okay. I have a few things here. Have you guys watched any movies from like late 50s that were like travel movies? Like, I'm thinking like Around the World in 80 Days.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. So part of the appeal of those movies is that people didn't have like huge color televisions at home. People didn't have like even color photos of all these places. You couldn't get music from any place besides the town you lived in. And so part of like, there is kind of a tradition of like vicarious vacation movie where the point of the movie isn't the plot. The point of the movie is to like do the vacation stuff, which completely off topic. That was one of my complaints about the 50 Shades movie, was that like they went on a honeymoon and you didn't even see any of the vacation porn, and like they had a wedding and you didn't even see any of the cool wedding stuff. It was like, I'm watching this stinker for the plot. I want to see like the dress, and I want to see like the different bathing suits, and I want to see like the drinks and the dinners, and I want the food to look amazing, and I want the sunsets, and I want the cheap drone photography of the boat looking really cool. And so like there is kind of a tradition of there being movies that just do that. I mean, they're shit. Around the World in 80 Days is like almost unwatchable.
But this was just a commercial for all the things you can do on a Royal Caribbean cruise.
I mean, think of Forgetting Sarah Marshall, right? Forgetting Sarah Marshall, partially a commercial for Hawaii and all the things you can do in Hawaii, and they did that. They did the surfing thing, and but it was a funny fucking movie.
Yeah, you had Paul Rudd as the teacher, and you had, the Hawaiian guys when they weren't working, would beat the shit out of you because they weren't taking that shit anymore. This was just, hey, we're gonna go on the safari and then we're gonna smoke weed with this with the cool tour guide.
God, how bad was that? That I felt kind of, this is offensive. Like I really felt bad at that part. I'm like, this is just terrible.
And it's, of course, they all group up, and so they're supposed to be a honeymoon couple, of course. So they hook up with the other people on their honeymoons, or so you got the old couple that's there for the 50th anniversary. You got the gay couple. You got the black couple that's on their second marriage. It's like, come on. And it's just, hey, let's all learn about each other and get into each other's lives and be friends. Like, no one does this. You get, when we were on our honeymoon, we ran into some people. Hey, you're on our honeymoon too, and you do a couple shots, and you throw them down the slide at the pool bar, and you go about your business. You know, no one's
Yeah.
looking to make lasting fucking relationships on
I mean,
their
same
honeymoon.
thing. I mean, it's funny enough is I'm still Facebook friends with someone that we met on our honeymoon. It's just, it is kind of funny. It's been
You're
9
not
years,
helping them move,
but
though.
that's the point. We had a good time and we did hang out with that couple a little bit. But I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
like the whole honeymoon. We were kind of
Yeah, it's
connected.
like, hey, where are you from? Where'd you get married? And you just fucking whatever. Not like, let's fix your life. It's like, come on.
But that was one of the points I was going to make too. Is it's just how stupid was it? So they go out of their way to say, okay, things are repaired, and then it's like, oh no, he's bankrupt, so things are not good. And then a second later, things are fixed. And then the next day, she gets the promotion, so she's not going to go to LA and help him move. And then the next day, she's like, she is going to LA. It was just like, it was so much. And then when she gets there, the gay couple's helping him move. I'm like, really? Really?
Well, that was the thing. Like, we know that they're, he hasn't seen her for a long time. We didn't know how long for
26
was.
years. 26
yes,
years. Yeah.
we didn't know that right away, but we find out. We didn't even know the mom was dead until like she just randomly threw it into a conversation.
Which is funny because Kristen Bell's 38. She plays a 31-year-old. I buy it.
Oh, she looks good.
Yeah.
She still looks young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like his reason for leaving. Like we have this whole time, we don't know why he walked out. What happened? Like his reason for leaving her was just, yeah, it didn't work out with your mom, and it became too hard to say goodbye every weekend. It's like, really? That's so. It was too hard to say goodbye, so goodbye forever. Like, come on. And then she just says okay, and then the whole movie then switches on to her. So like now it's her. She's the bitch because she doesn't
like father.
Yeah. And like you said, the whole time we don't know what's going on. We keep seeing him get phone calls, and he's ignoring phone calls, so you don't know what's going on. I assumed I thought they were going to pull his dying card, or he had another family he was ignoring in LA or some shit like that. But then it's just the bankruptcy, and then nothing happened. So it's like, all right.
So okay, I was telling you before the show, Marty. I don't think Amanda was on the line yet. I did. There's one sequence that I did really enjoy in this movie, and I laughed out loud. Was kind of the honeymooners, like the newlywed.
Yes,
I thought that was a great sequence, and I like the host. I like the guy that plays the host. I think he's a pretty funny dude. I've seen him in a couple other movies, but that whole sequence, just like, it's like my father's last, my ex.
Yeah, so that was. I've always wondered why people wouldn't do that in real life. Because like they met up beforehand, and he told her, okay, if it's a color, it's black. If it's a place, it's Hawaii. If it's a food, it's pizza. And he gave her a list of like just these 10 things we're gonna go with for everything. And then they showed all of the like hilarious questions that she had to answer with those, like some weird Mad Libs. Yeah.
Pizza. It was good.
That was great.
It was a really
and then,
good
but then it was also like half like double dare.
Yeah.
So they had to like throw slime at each other and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. So it was a good, I don't know, 4 minutes segment.
The movie's not without a few funny parts here and there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of funny parts, but
Kelsey Grammer's great. Kristen Bell's funny when she's like cursing or going off on one thing or another.
I also like, okay, karaoke gets me like nervous and anxious, and like I'm not really into that. But they also like both have some Broadway, so that was great. And like also all right, two like stereotypical women observations. So they got on the cruise without any luggage, which means that they bought matching sequin smoking jackets for their karaoke number on the boat
while being bankrupt.
That was the thing too, is that they were the whole thing the night before. They got so drunk they had to be kind of carried onto the boat. I guess no one's letting you on a boat if you're so drunk you can't find your fucking ID, or you have no, how they find the tickets. Like, it's just so stupid.
And carrying an urn.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that whole part. There are so many people in this movie that you're supposed to care about who you never even.
Gabe.
Yeah, it's like the whole time you think, is Gabe even a real person? Is he making it up the whole time? So it's like Kelsey Grammer's life fell apart because his best friend Gabe died, and this is where it's kind of a personal note, even for the. I know her mom, Seth Rogen's wife's mother, actually does have Alzheimer's, and she got it when she was like 50 or something. So I know they're he spoke in Congress about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually very big into that stuff. So when I hit that note, I was like, oh, I can see where that came from in this. But it was just even that part. It was just all right. So why do we, your best friend died now? So what? Now you're gonna go find your daughter? It's like there's no excuse for why you weren't in your. There was never really an excuse for why you weren't in your daughter's life your whole life. Why you were bankrupt somehow? I mean, they had a business. They never really mentioned how he kind of the guy Gale pissed the business away because he had Alzheimer's and he was making bad choices. Essentially, what he said. It's like, all right, that's odd. And then again, the whole movie switches to him and makes him the focal point. Where we're supposed to feel bad about him, and she's supposed to drop her life and take care of him, where he never did that for her. And it's just
This is what Erin said to me after we watched it last night. She's like, they're trying to tug at your heartstrings, and just I felt nothing. Right? There's no, they're trying to make this emotional connection thing, and it's just like failed. Like there was just no kind of sense of like with Kodachrome. Honestly, like if you go back to our review, there's elements of Kodachrome that kind of impacted me. Right? I felt it's like okay, yeah, and again, some great acting in Kodachrome, but there wasn't bad acting in this. It's just not a greatly written movie. There was not enough substance to latch onto. So even though the performances were good, and it's a comedy, I've seen comedies that tug at your heartstrings, and this just did nothing.
No, like I said, it switched between Kelsey Grammer being a good guy, and a shit like within an instant, which wasn't earned really. Like everyone that they were touring with took his side in the thing for some reason, without making everyone had to fix it. And we'll talk about. I mean, I mentioned before about her. She's obsessed with her job for no reason. We meet her boss at the beginning of the movie. The boss is doing their wedding that gets canceled.
Mm.
He clearly doesn't give a shit. I mean, he's his boss, whatever, but he's not some demanding. You have to get the job done, boss. That would make her be neurotic about this shit. She's not like going after, Coke or Pepsi. She's going after some
Crispy
client.
chips,
Yeah,
hipster chips.
two hipster.
Chips.
Yeah, that don't. They're not pushing her to get the job done on kind of timetable.
That was a good part though, when Kelsey Grammer turns to people, it's like, "Do you like potato chips? Do you like potato chips? There, your job is done."
It's like, so they never really explain why she's so obsessed with her work. Like there was no real.
Probably because her father left her and her mother's dead. I mean,
Yeah.
Like you take everybody. You can Dan works hard, but he can take a week off and not give a shit. I mean,
Hey,
wait,
some of us can not give a shit without even leaving the office.
I have a vacation coming up in a couple weeks. Let's test that theory, because I'm usually very unsuccessful with taking vacations, Marty. So
I only take work email on vacation if they're on softball season, and I gotta something changes. Other than that,
last year in Miami, I took way too many work calls and was working on some stuff, and yeah. So,
which you wouldn't be holding up the wedding because to make us. No. It's like, come on. It wasn't like her job was not that important, and not that anyone's job is important, but like when the movie is also showing that her job's not that important, it makes it just odd that she, cared, like that no one's able to grab her and be like, hey, just calm the fuck down. This isn't that big a deal. You're selling potato chips. Let's, your job's not going anywhere. Your boss is over there. He doesn't give a shit.
Was the boss? Was he recently in Stranger Things?
He's in a lot. He's always the goofy character.
I've seen him in the other guys, right?
Gelman.
Yeah, he's in the other guys. I saw another movie he was recently in.
Lemon. We did
Lemon. Yeah, we talked about Lemon, which is. Yeah. But I think he was in Stranger Things. I think that's where I last saw him at.
Let me see. I'm looking up here.
I definitely like. He's one of those guys you look at him and you go, "Oh, it's that guy."
Yeah. So when you install him as the boss in the role, he's not a serious guy.
Yeah, it didn't work, and it's weird too because he wasn't silly enough.
Yeah, but it was just
well,
like,
okay,
right.
You guys, Netflix had this listed as a comedy, drama.
Ooh.
So it's not like just because Seth Rogen's in it doesn't mean it's like
Isn't that
It's
the new like Oscar, the comedy drama award? Like they just keep adding Oscars. I can't keep up.
well, and also I thought that was funny because I was like, I've heard the phrase dramatic comedy before, but I've never heard of a comedic dramedy. Comedic drama,
Comedic drama. Yeah.
whatever.
Dramedy.
I mean, yeah, there wasn't any big dramatic fucking moment in this movie that I can,
There was
he,
no
he,
drama. Yeah, there's no dramatic moment.
There,
I mean,
there was okay.
he
There
spilled
was
the ashes at times.
constantly tiny drama. You just sat here describing how like every 3 minutes it switched between who was a good guy and who was a bad guy. Like that counts as drama. It's just stupid.
Stupid drama. there's
It's like,
the new genre, stupid drama.
Well,
he
but like
takes her phone and throws it in the water, and then she finds it, and it still works. That was a
yeah,
big dramatic moment.
like again, sometimes just like sometimes people want like a vicarious vacation. There is a market for like watching things turn out right, especially with the way the world is right now. Like sometimes like it's kind of reassuring to have two people fight, and like there were no moments in this where it was like, no wait, you don't understand, come back, you have to let me explain.
Well,
Like
they
had
almost
like
did it, but
they
it was within
almost
like
did
2
it,
seconds.
and then they actually freaking talked to each other and resolved it in like a minute. And you're like, and so then we're like, oh, it's stupid drama, but it was like real and everything like worked out okay, and no one feels like killing themselves when the movie's over.
It is what
So
you
like there
always
is,
hope that an argument that as you have an argument, it's like
yeah,
let's talk about it for a minute. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
like it was just this, it was just like
Well,
super
that was the thing too. Is like
normal.
her original reaction was way too over the top. Whereas, like if you got those calls, you'd be like, "Hey, I just got a call in my office. They said you're bankrupt. What the fuck's going on?" Not like, "You son of a bitch, you're just here for money." Blah blah blah. And then it's like, all right, maybe take it down 2 notches. And then by the end, it was
Well,
like, "Oh,
I don't know if someone that I hadn't seen in 20 something years suddenly showed up at my wedding because that was a public event where they could figure out where I would be, and then I found out that they needed money, I'd be like, yeah, you just looked me up because you needed money and you came to find me in like a venue where I couldn't get away from you to ask me in front of other people for money. Are you gonna not help your dad at your wedding? Are you gonna do that? Like everybody's
Is
gonna be
that
like,
like a
oh
Godfather thing? You have to help your father at a wedding if he's bankrupt.
no, I just mean that would be like a super awkward situation
I'd be
to
like,
have.
no, I just paid for a fucking wedding. How am I gonna give you money? Stop it.
that too. That wedding did not look cheap. That was a Central Park fucking wedding, and so
Yeah.
just walk away from that thing."
Oh, that reminds me. I had two woman points. One was that they didn't have clothes with them in the suitcase. The other was um her lipstick choices in this told like there was just an entire like other storyline. It was very subtle, but like the biggest one is the day after her wedding, she's got like this goth burgundy thing going on, and it's very like, I'm making bad choices today, is what it says.
It would have been fun if
And then
the kind of like
you
a
just like,
film score that when they bring something back, they bring like
yeah.
if she had
Well,
the burgundy lipstick on when she's hooking up with Seth Rogen, that would have been a nice.
well, no. So when she was more like office lady, like when she was swinging more towards like, oh yes, I'm gonna like go back to work, they did do like a more of like a contrasting lip color, even though it was like more natural shades the whole time she was on the cruise. So like they did have like the one lady who's doing the makeup for everybody in the bathroom with the handlebars on the cruise ship. And she's probably got somebody else there holding a flashlight so she has good light so she can do it. I don't know, maybe it's a man, whatever. The lip color applicator professional made excellent choices, which really, highlighted the emotional state of, you know.
This
Do you want me to keep going?
listen. This is what you get when Amanda's on the show. You go from 50 Shades of Grey to 50 Shades of Lipstick in like 2 minutes. I mean,
Yeah. Well, anyways, it was a detail that I appreciated, and I'm now gonna look up so that I can give the name. Because I want to know who the lipstick applicator was.
So
Now
you're gonna search the credits. Because
I'm
you
gonna.
didn't sit through the credits. You didn't wait for the
Was it the post
teaser,
credit
the
scene?
post-credit scene. Yeah.
Wait, there was a post-credit scene.
Sure, Spider-Man comes back. It was big.
Speaking of which,
Actually, it was Green. Actually, it was what fucking thing did he play? Green Hornet. Green Hornet showed up.
funny thing is, I saw that Samuel Jackson and Colby Smulders is going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, and I mean,
Yeah, and everyone's not dead apparently because Batista is bitching about Galaxy 3, and I thought they all died too. I don't know what happened.
Okay, there were 19 people in the makeup department, so it was not just one person in the bathroom.
A lot of people to get Kelsey Grammer to still look good. Come on now.
but he's looked the same since like the 80s.
Yeah, since end of Cheers. Once he cut up,
it's looked exactly the same since end of Cheers / early Frasier.
Okay, so I'm seeing 2 makeup artists for Kristen Bell on here. I'm seeing an Ashley Fox and a Simone Alamakis Siegel.
Nice. Is that Jason?
And so,
Jason Siegel's sister, maybe?
I don't know. But I'm guessing that like the office looks were all done by one person, and like the cruise looks were somebody else, which is why I was getting that contrast. I picked up on it. Great work, lady.
Listen,
lip color applicators.
Some of the film shows that are out on the internet, they talk about cinematography. Overrated. They talk about the film score. Who fucking cares? It's the lipstick.
Lipstick.
That's all that fucking matters. Is the contrast and shades of lipstick. That's it. From now on, every time Amanda's on, you have to talk about the lipstick of the characters.
No, look, I'm more than just that. I'm also thinking about ranking all of the Charmed episodes by cleavage.
I would watch that show.
I approve this message.
just like a cleavage warning system.
Who was
there are some.
That wasn't Shannon Doherty, wasn't it? Charmed.
Beginning with Shannon Doherty,
yeah.
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Aaron Spelling knows how to pick out costumes for young women who are 20 played by 30-year-olds.
Very warm climate, and you have to wear V-necks out there a lot of the time.
The deep V. So,
yeah, that is a new Oscar award, Best Lipstick. Yes. See, they just keep coming out with these Oscars.
Okay, but you understand what I'm saying is that, like, real people wear makeup, and if you include that as part of your characterization, it was an unexpected detail that was well executed in something that was otherwise like watching a QVC infomercial.
No, it's a good observation.
Yeah, there we go. It's what I'm here for.
I'm teasing, but it was actually a good observation.
Do you guys want to start making fun of the Oscars instead of me now?
We should.
We
can
make
fun of the Oscars for a little bit.
Because I don't think Like Father will make it into either of the Best Picture or Best Popular Picture category next year.
They have the Best Netflix picture.
They're gonna have to do that kind. I mean,
listen,
why doesn't Netflix have their own awards show for all of their stuff?
Well, they should. Honestly, they should have the streaming, the best streaming. You should have Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, like any of the ones that have like streaming movies and shows and stuff like that. They should just have their own award shows. And
I mean, they took over the Emmys essentially, so
yeah, just have their own film.
Yeah, so I mean, in case anyone hasn't seen, we were talking about. They announced this week that the Oscars is gonna shake it up to get the ratings back, even though you never get ratings back because people don't watch television anymore. It's not so much the movie is nominated. It's just that people don't watch television anymore. So can't be. They're cutting it 3 hours instead of I think less. I think it was like 5.5 last year. I mean, it was ridiculously long. I'm not gonna lie, but 3 hours. They're gonna give awards away during commercials because that's really a good showing to people.
Listen, I'll
You
fix.
feel
I'm
awards
gonna fix
for
the
yeah.
Oscars. I'm gonna fix the Oscars right now. I'm dead serious. Is you have pretty much a half hour for 5 nights a week, 5 different locations, and the awards are scattered over the 5 days.
Nice.
Miniseries type thing. People would watch that. A
Yeah.
half hour commitment for for 5 days. People would
It's
watch
a
it.
lot of traveling for the actors and people in the movies.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's it. No, you have 5 different locations, and you break up the awards so the people are together and
And you could highlight like a different Best Picture nom each night.
Yep. And it culminates, and then you don't have to have all the people together too. If you wanted to do Best Picture on the last night, and you have the people in the different locations, and you just have them.
They could Skype call like us.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying, like, if you have a smaller commitment, and if you're doing stuff that's more fit for like streaming services, and like people can just check in on their phones and watch, for a little bit. That's the way you got to do it. Like, you can't have this big fucking 3 hour, and even so, if you have maybe you have 5 different hosts, and just I don't know, man. This whole idea of adding this fucking popular award, like, I can't say that irked me because I don't care about the Oscars. It just seems like you're fucking kidding me.
It's just you're opening yourself. I mean, they haven't really. This is all pushed by ABC. It came out today. ABC wanted all these changes, but they still haven't said like what the parameters will be. Because so what? What is a popular movie? Was Lord of the Rings not popular? That won Best Picture. Was La La Land was not technically a popular movie, but it made $100 million. Where do you nominate that? Are we just gonna? Are you just saying it's a superhero movie category? Is it just a blockbuster?
Movie, yeah.
I mean, they tried to fix this, whatever it was, 3 or 5 years ago when they said, all right, we're going to nominate 10. And the idea behind doing that was we're going to nominate some of these other movies. Instead, they just nominated 10 Oscar movies. So if they'd just fixed it that way. And then again, are you going to have 10 and 10 now? Are you going to nominate 20 fucking movies for Best Picture? I mean, are you going to have crossovers? Can something be best and popular? It's just, you're opening yourself up to stupid things for just one night, just to avoid 1 or 2 weeks of social fucking network, bitching. It's like no one cares that much about this stuff. It's fun to talk about for 2 weeks. Here's how I'm going to
fix the Oscars again. Here you go. Here's my next fix. Is okay. You start breaking things out into the best genre. So there's best comedy, best, and then the winner of each of those goes into the best picture.
Bracketing. You were bracketing here?
No. You just get like those. So you get the best comedy, the best drama, and then at the end of it, you select best in show. It's almost like fucking dog.
Blaster.
Well, that's kind of like how the Grammys do it. You have,
enter, 1 film leaves. 2 films enter, 1 film leaves.
Listen, if Tremor 6 isn't fucking nominated this year, I'm out of here.
Master Blaster. What?
I said if Tremor 6 isn't nominated this year, I'm fucking out of here.
I know, right? Who's running the show? Can we get Jamie Kennedy to host?
Oh my God, they should totally have Jamie Kennedy. He would be on one of the 5 nights. Listen, in my 5-night Oscars, Jamie Kennedy's one of the hosts. There, listen, Jamie Kennedy, I know you watch the show.
Really,
He does still follow me on Twitter. It wasn't just yeah.
That's the thing too. It's like, who are you trying to get here? You're trying to get young people. They're not going to watch. You're trying to get conservatives back. I don't think they're coming back either. So I mean, I agree with trimming it down. 5.5 hour show was stupid, but if you're going to start giving everybody an award, you might as well make it fucking the Golden Globes or the MTV Awards.
So are they giving out awards during the commercials where you're going to see the commercial on the big part of the screen and then like the small?
Yeah, I guess they'll do it like that. How they kind of do that shit now. I mean, but it's just, but they're doing that so they can get more skits and more stupid shit in there. It's like, that's not helping the award show either. I'm fine with less awards on the show because you get like 2 hour stretch there where it's just not even cinematography. It's like assistant cinematography. It's just fucking awards no one knows about. And those people go on for 10 minutes talking. And then the last half hour, you're squeezing in, the 6 awards you really want to see. So if they can, there's definitely ways to trim this shit out. But adding in, giving superhero movies a an award is not helping. It's not really going to make anybody watch this thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think I think a lot of people are saying that this is one of the effects of Black Panther. Like that's
That it's just all. I mean, it's
no, but I think part of it is a lot of people are really pushing for Black Panther to get a Best Picture nomination, and the Academy is like, we can't nominate. I mean, what superhero movies have a chance to be not? You look back in time. There might be
it's 4 or 5.
three,
Yeah,
I'd say.
Logan,
Logan,
what Dark
maybe Dark
Knight,
Knight, the original Superman. I mean, there's
yeah,
very few like
Watchmen.
Watchmen. I mean, again, it's very few that really have the.
Like if you had it, when you're doing, you're gonna nominate, Infinity War. You're gonna nominate, like Mission Impossible. Maybe you nominate because that
I
was,
would, listen. Uh, one of my old co-hosts, Nick, had mentioned that if you're going to add an award, really, and give credit to like these popular blockbusters, best stuntman, or stunt
yeah.
coordinator, stunt person, right?
Aren't there also like a whole slew of technical awards that are already given on a separate night?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yep.
is that like a different? Okay. Because I was thinking, I was like, wouldn't it be better? I guess that's Nick's point, is that like we kind of acknowledge that these superhero movies aren't like as good, but they do a lot of
They
really
win.
cool shit, and they should
Yeah, and they
win.
always win best visual effects and sound and shit like that. I
Okay.
think
How would you guys feel about if the popular movie category was like the Nobel Prize, where it was usually years later? So what if it was like looking at like, because there's
like
some
that.
right where it's like, because you're like, oh, like maybe The Dark Knight, and I'm like, okay, the year The Dark Knight came out, maybe not, but like 10 years later, that is clearly like a huge movie. So maybe instead of it being like an award for the best popular movie this year, they could just start like a popular movie Hall of Fame to recognize movies that like didn't win that year but should have won later. Like in retrospect, were better.
That's interesting.
Because haven't you guys done like an award, like not an awards show, like a list of like, the worst Oscar winners or whatever, or something like when you look back and you're like, these two movies were both nominated that year and this one won.
It's usually about Crash.
Yeah. So that's my suggestion for your save the Oscars plan.
I think we're all coming up, except for Marty. Marty has not come up with a single idea to help save the Oscars.
I like the Oscars as it is. I'm the one guy who watches all 5 hours. I don't, call me whatever. I think if everybody just watched it and watched along with me on Twitter at Movie and Stuff Show on Twitter, I think they would enjoy it a lot more.
My friend Scott used to do a drinking game, and we would fill it out ahead of time and we would watch it. But he also would host leading up to it. We would watch as many of the noms as we could, and he would take off work starting like Thursday and just show them back to back to back, like 24 hours a day for like 4 days. And that's not a thing we can do anymore. But the drinking game we could bring back.
Sure, we could.
Or maybe like just betting.
Well, betting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but drinking is more fun than betting.
This is none of this is novel. You guys are like, Amanda, have you ever had friends in the last 15 years? This is normal.
We had someone commenting, and the message got retracted.
Yeah, were you doing that or no?
I did not retract it.
Did,
I think they retracted.
Yeah, he was talking about Dark Knight being the reason. Yeah. It was actually one of the reasons that they expanded back in, I guess it was 09.
No, right. And
because people were pissed off that it wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
So they went from 5 to they can nominate it up to 10, but they never really used it other than maybe once or twice to nominate something that they wouldn't normally nominate. Like last year was just 10 Oscar-style movies, which I don't think was the point of it.
So I mean, if they go the popular this year,
it'd be Black Panther, Infinity War,
I think Mission Impossible. Listen, I think
Mission Impossible, yeah,
would
that's
be
the
a
one.
good one. I think it would be really good.
I mean, it's really, we'll see what else comes out, but there hasn't really been a cartoon that was any good this year.
Where does Sorry to Bother You get nominated for anything? Where does that category go?
Yeah. So what is that? Does that count as popular,
No,
even though it doesn't make
I
money?
think, but I mean that's kind of like Get Out, right? I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
falls into like that weird Get Out,
like the top,
Like it's genre, but it's not popular.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the top 5 moneymakers this year are Black Panther, Infinity War, Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, and Deadpool.
See,
oh, Jurassic World! Oh no!
Look.
No!
Like none of those movies are. I mean, one or two of them you can make a case are Oscar worthy, but
I mean, the problem is something like Incredible. Like think of.
And then you have an
Here's
animated
here's
category
my problem.
too.
Yep. Animated films always just going to be nominated for best animated, and sometimes animated films are the best films of the year. Like honestly, sometimes the animated films are the best films, and they're never going to be nominated for best picture. They're never going to be nominated for this popular one. It's like, oh, but there's an animated category that they can win that, and I think that's kind of bullshit. Listen, I really enjoyed Incredibles 2. I thought it was a really great movie. The first Incredibles is fantastic. And there's just a lot of these Disney ones that I enjoy. But, you start looking at, like, some of the, Japanese-made animated films that are, insanely, looked upon through, the last, like, 30 years as some of the greatest films ever made. And it's just like, yeah, they get the best picture. The Studio Ghibli stuff, yeah, like pick one, just pick one.
How about the one with the like raccoon police war thing with the giant balls and the weird stuff?
Yes,
that's the one that should win.
Yeah,
you told me to pick one.
Was that Rampage?
No, that was
It's just some animated tentacle porn.
Yeah.
Watching.
No! Oh my gosh! Come on, it's a legit movie. I'm just pointing out that like not all of the Studio Ghibli stuff is like magical and
it's not.
appropriate.
Definitely not appropriate. No. And
I'm gonna look it up now because I feel crazy.
So, what else you had, Marty? I didn't watch the Michael Moore trailer. What's that about? What's he talking about?
Well, remember Fahrenheit 9/11? This is Fahrenheit 11/9, so that worked out well for him.
Oh, because Trump was nominated. Won 11/9.
I didn't even put that together until this.
Got it.
But it's his usual
clever, Michael.
Michael Moore nonsense. I mean,
it's not gonna. I like some of his stuff.
It's not good. He never fixes anything.
I liked Sicko. I thought Sicko was one of his better ones. Still his crazy fucking, shit that he does. But I enjoyed Sicko. I haven't watched. What has he done since Sicko? I probably haven't watched anything.
That might have been it.
Okay, so maybe I'm not too far. I think I've seen them all. I think I've seen all the ones that he's put out. But yeah, I mean,
Where to Invade Next? I think that was kind of a lesser known. Where to Invade Next? He did in 2015. Capitalism: A Love Story was in 2009.
I didn't watch either of those. Yeah, Where to Invade Next? That looked interesting enough. Well, let's see. Yeah, that's what to expect. So he's doing a Trump thing.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Coming out in time for the midterms, though.
Why didn't he do an Obama one? I mean, I'm just listen. I'm still not 100% sure if my Pepsi can isn't spying on me from the Obama administration.
That's fair. I don't know what Slacker Uprising was about. Maybe that was about that.
Got it.
No, it doesn't look like it.
I didn't watch Michael Moore's new trailer, so.
No, I mean it really did. Literally just dropped today. That's why I mentioned it. But it was not. It's you didn't see it, but you'll know what it's about essentially.
I mean, Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that. I also didn't hear anything about the Oscars, and I had to look it up earlier when you gave me the heads up. Literally, the only thing anyone that I know has been talking about is Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
with
it's
Jean-Luc
coming back.
Picard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what corners of the internet you losers hang out on, but where I'm at, it's all Picard all the time right now.
And
Did
Batwoman. What's this Batwoman thing too? We'll get to that in a second. But what were you gonna
yeah,
say?
I
it was
mean,
announced this week that Ruby Rose is going to be the new Batwoman on the CW, DC verse, whatever they call that.
okay,
And
cool.
I was not aware of a Batwoman, to be quite honest. I knew Batgirl, but it's
Batwoman.
not her. It's
No,
not someone else.
Batwoman is a whole separate
Yeah,
character
it's Bruce
who's
Wayne
been
has a sex
around.
change.
No, it's just a whole separate thing. Um, and yeah, she's she's Batwoman, and she does like the Batman thing, but she's a woman, and she has her own separate city and her own separate villains, and
She
Oh.
rich.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is this in a world where Batman exists or no?
I don't remember. I think like in some versions they do meet, but like that's like the raw like they don't like hang out all the time. Like he didn't train her, I don't think. The only Batwoman I've read was the J.H. Williams run, which had like really amazing art right before the New 52. And that it was not necessary to like really know any story to enjoy that. The one detail I remembered that I really liked was that she wears a red wig, like under her mask as part of like her disguise, and then she actually has short red hair. So, well, no. So, right, exactly. So that's like stupid. So, like, if anyone's running around looking for Batwoman, they're looking for either a woman with long red hair, or they're like, oh, it's a wig, right? Or like that's what they'll assume. And why would a person with red hair wear a red
Red
wig?
wig. Yeah.
So
Is
I just
she a
remember.
Is she lesbian in the comic? Yeah.
Not only has she been a lesbian in the comic for like a long time, but the run that I'm talking about, she was like engaged to get married, and DC swooped in and they were like, no, she can't marry her girlfriend. And everyone was like, is it because she's a lesbian? And they're like, and they came back and they doubled down and they're like, no, superheroes in general just don't get married. And people were like, well, what about Mira? And they're like, sounds like Aquaman's gonna get divorced then, so we can triple down on this. And I don't know if they ever actually like made them not be married. It was just hilarious to me with the Batman Catwoman marriage controversy this summer. I was like, yes, I'm like, DC's not gonna let them get married. DC has like quadrupled down on the whole superheroes can't be married things. So but yeah, so Batwoman's always been a red-headed lesbian social justice warrior.
So perfect.
Since like,
then.
Yeah. But there was the typical,
and people, and I've
Twitter
heard some
bullshit this week.
yeah, and
after
I've heard some
else.
people complaining that she like might not be the greatest actress, and I'm like, whatever.
It's the
It's the
CW.
CW.
I mean, come on.
She did a run on Orange is the New Black, right?
Orange is the New Black. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Okay.
in. She's in this movie coming out this week. That stupid shark movie, Meg. She's in that.
Oh, okay.
He's nice.
I liked her in Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, she was good in that.
Yeah.
She was a very underrated role in Pitch Perfect 3. She was in that.
Is that what we got this week? It's an hour. We filled up an hour.
There you go.
We probably talked like 20 minutes about this movie.
It's more than it needed, really.
The movie's an hour and 43 minutes. It's on Netflix for those of you who don't want
Doing-
to see it.
Doing well, apparently. I mean, it had like.
Is it?
I did the thing where I went through on Twitter and like liked everybody who was tweeting about it, so that maybe like if I did that 200 times, one person might click on the link and watch a review.
Nice.
But I couldn't like as many as I wanted because a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm crying," and I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh gosh, you suck."
Wow.
I
A
mean,
lot of people who are, yeah.
I don't know what
Nothing.
could have
I
happened.
got
Yeah,
nothing.
I'm saying we're cooler than them.
Oh yeah, big time.
we're just not as affected,
Yeah.
and we're pretty affected people, really.
Yeah, we're pretty terrible. Yeah, pretty awful. All right. How's your podcast going, Amanda? Good. You and Jamil?
Good. We are going to record our second book talk this weekend. We read Vision, like the guy from the movie Vision.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Died.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
spoilers. And who knows? Maybe we'll read some Batwoman because of the news.
Nice. Nice. I can't wait until Man Bat makes a big return.
That's also a thing,
What's a
right?
Man Bat?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a comic book without a good set of bat wings.
Oh, come on now.
Closes out another episode of the Movie Stuff Show. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to us, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. Go listen to Amanda and Jamil's podcast. Where?
You can find us on Twitter. We're Comic Book Club 52, like the new 52, whatever.
I gotta get your Twitter handle, so whenever you're on, I can have your Twitter handle like at the bottom of
Mhm.
underneath your picture, so people know how to.
Well, your new
Are we
Twitter
gonna have-
handle's like 1,000 words now. You switched your
Not
Twitter
her
name.
personal Twitter. I won't put her personal Twitter or Jamil's.
Okay.
Well, I
Yeah.
might put Jamil's personal one, but I can
No,
put their show's Twitter handle.
There you go.
Yeah. Do we have to cross promote you guys now?
No.
I mean, it'd be helpful if you met through us.
No. No one needs to watch this show.
Clearly.
I still do it, Marty. Hey, listen. We had 30 views last week, Marty, and I'm still doing the show. I still showed up this week.
I thought that was a good episode
It was a
too.
very good episode. Wait, listen, I say every episode that we have is a very good episode, and so do the dozens of people that end up watching us.
Dozens of people are waiting for the game.
All of our moms.
My wife sleeps through most of the show, but
That's-
God bless her.
Listen, my wife will comment once or twice during the show. I find that to be a victory.
She gets that one in early, and I think she checks out after that, so she can just say, "Hey, I
Perfect.
commented."
Perfect. Listen, I take it. Take it. Listen, it's a view. Good night, everyone.
Right.